Welcome into the latest edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, Chicago's most popular Cubs podcast with my partner, Gordon Wittenmyer. I'm David Kaplan. It's available right here on YouTube and audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. Gordon, happy Thanksgiving week. Love having you here in the Recap Studios in the suburbs.
This place is awesome.
It's outstanding, and it's even better when you're here. So, Friday is Black Friday, biggest shopping day of the year. And while I am recovering from Bloody Marys and whatever else I have with Thanksgiving dinner and tryptophan and mashed potatoes and corn and gravy, which I eat once a year, it's one of my favorite things to do. Put the potatoes, the corn on top, and then put the gravy on top of that.
That's Kentucky Fried Chicken, man.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So I'm excited. A little beef tenderloin, some wine. Jed Hoyer better be busy because I have demands. I have things I want for my favorite baseball team.
Yeah, poor Jed. He doesn't have the best track record on Thanksgiving, right? Going back to Schilling.
No. So for people that don't know it, the Red Sox in 2004 are going after, it was actually the fall of 2003, going into the 2004 season. Theo and Jed are working for the Red Sox. Theo's the boss. And he says, we want Curt Schilling. And they get a hold of Schilling, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to the Yankees.
And if you remember Theo in Chicago, when he targets one guy,
he gets him.
He's all in.
And so Schilling says, no, I want to be a Yankee. What? What do you mean you want to be a Yankee? And Terry Francona, in the latest edition that Netflix does of these 3-part documentaries called The Comeback in 2004 when they were down 3-0 to the Yankees in the ALCS, Terry Francona says, yeah, my phone rang, and it was the late Larry Lucchino, then Theo's boss, the team president. And he's like, this is effing unacceptable. And Theo now has the checkbook to go whatever he has to do to beat the evil empire, the Yankees. They fly out to Schilling's on Wednesday. They meet with him all day. Schilling says, I'm interested. We've got more to talk about. Stay over for Thanksgiving dinner. Jed, nobody else got sick at the Schilling, so it might have been something they ate on the trip. Jed gets the worst food poisoning of his life. He is doubled over the Schilling's house, sweating, trying not to show how sick he is until he can't help it anymore. They get the deal done. Schilling has the bloody sock later in the year, the next season, and anyway, they break the curse. They get it done. So my question for Jed is, I know it's Thanksgiving. I know you got to stay away from Roki Sasaki's food. Maybe you'll get sick there. Get freaking Roki Sasaki. I want a top of the rotation arm, or get Max Fried. Go get.
Did we just say Black Friday?
We did.
Roki Sasaki is the doorbuster.
He is. That's a great way to put it.
He's the guy everybody's in on.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing that Manfred just said, what we probably all thought, but he expects this to go into mid-January, which means
make an offer till Jan 15.
Well, you get a tight window where this has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the offers get made. But here's the thing about that. If they go to January 15th,
mm-hmm.
they're into next year's international pool money, which means a reset for every team.
Mm-hmm.
So every team in baseball is going to have, I don't know, roughly 5.5, 5.7 to 7.1, 7.2 million, which evens the playing field, because right now some teams are almost out of money.
Correct.
And remember, this is the Shohei Ohtani type of, when he originally came over, the type of bidding, because he's under 25 and he's an amateur international
mm-hmm.
free agent technically, or whatever. He's been playing pro ball, but he's not the high end Yu Darvish type.
Correct.
So that puts everybody in play. So that's why everybody's rushing over to that aisle come Black Friday.
Correct.
And we'll see. We'll see if they get him, but there's going to be so much competition. They better be ready for some plan B, plan C, plan Ds that day that the doors open.
Okay, so let's assume they don't get Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, I think they're out on Fried's. They're talking Fried 6 and 180 type range. I don't think they have an appetite for something like that.
Why?
Look, should they? That's not the issue, man. We can go down this road all day long if you want. you're talking my language, and you
Well,
say,
according to Kenny Rosenthal, they are all in to try and trade Bellinger, and they think they might have a taker in the Mets.
well, I don't know about that, because I mean, everybody says the same thing. Like Nightingale called it the worst kept secret in baseball, that they're trying to shop him, but nobody wants to pay the freight. If they have a buyer, it's because they're either giving up the top of their farm system along with him for somebody to take the freight, or they're paying a good deal of that freight to pay it down. Now, if you pay down half of it and put the other team on the hook for the back end, that last year that he has another opt-out on, that might be worth it. And that also might free up enough to do some of this stuff. But then you're probably going to be looking for a hitter too.
All right, so I want a top of the rotation starter above and beyond everything. What about you?
Well, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about deals. We're talking about Black Friday. We're talking about value deals because
they were interested in Yusei Kikuchi. He signed with the Angels, 3 for $63. I don't think I would have given him $63 million guaranteed.
That was the projection that the Athletics expert on that came up with. And in fact, he hit it right on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, so that's what the market is, right? Mm-hmm. And when I was at the GM meetings, that was the buzz there, that this pretty strong pitching market, right? And the guys are going to get paid. So let me throw a name out at you. If Kikuchi's getting 2 and 60 or 3 and 63, and he's what, 34?
Mm-hmm.
Nathan Eovaldi's 35. He's a pretty solid pitcher, pretty good workload guy, pretty consistent guy. You can stick him in the middle of a rotation. He might be a 2-year guy. He signed for 2 and 34 on his last contract, and the projection I saw had him at 2 and maybe 45. Now that might bump up with Kikuchi's contract. He might think he can demand a little more, but if you could get him on a 2-year deal and pay that kind of money, that really lengthens your rotation in a big way. Remember, this guy was a big part of Texas's World Series team in 2023. He's pitched 5 times in the World Series, 2 different World Series. He's got 2 rings, one with the Red Sox in 2018.
Okay. What if I told you that there was a guy that is going to the Hall of Fame that is coming off of a down year because he had to deal with some surgery?
I don't want him. I know who you're talking about.
And he is the Cubs are the favorite in Vegas. If you go to bet on where this guy's going to go, the Cubs are 3-1, the favorite, with a long list of teams that think he could have a bounce back year. I'm talking about Justin Verlander.
If you're talking 2017, which you love to talk about.
Yeah, because they effed that up. They should have had him. But you were wandering around like a babe in the woods at Wrigley going, yeah, let me get Jose Quintana. And I want Justin freaking Verlander.
Yeah, well, we had no idea. They had no idea that Justin freaking Verlander was still Justin freaking Verlander.
I did.
You did.
Yes. And I called them the day. This is true. And I'm going to, when Jed comes in here.
This is your damn wishful thinking, which this one time actually played out.
I'm way more accurate than that. But when Jed comes in this studio.
Game 7, you and Holly, after the home run in the 8th inning, you were not Mr. Optimism in that moment.
I was just terrified. I couldn't believe we're coming this close, and then we give up a freaking home run. That's a different story. We won. Anyway, and I say because my heart was right out there in the field with them. Yeah, I'm a diehard. Always have been, always will be. That said, the day of the trade deadline, and when we get Jed in here, we're going to laugh, and I'm going to tell him the story. I called Theo's cell phone because I had talked to the Verlander camp. They called and said, hey, he's got a deal with Houston. We haven't approved it yet. He wants to be a Cub. We can't get a hold of Theo and Jed. I can. I call Theo's cell phone, voicemail. I text him, no response. I call Jed's cell phone. He answers. What's up? I said, I just got a call from the Verlander camp. He goes, no, out. We don't have the money left to take. We're not taking all 56 million left. Not sure he's healthy. And we've used our prospects on whatever deals they had already done. And I said, I'm telling you, they figured something out. Go look at his last 10 appearances. He looks really good. Tell them we're out. I got to go. Click. Bam. 5 minutes later on the crawl on ESPN, Verlander approves trade to Astros. And the rest is history.
They'd already traded for Quintana at that point.
They had.
Because that was
So take them both.
Well, sure. They couldn't do that back then. But look, Mister, you knew exactly what the hell was going on with Verlander at the time and that he was going to bounce back and be great again. Whatever. And nobody else knew that. Nobody else knew that.
Well, maybe they ought to hire me.
And Houston made a cottage industry out of doing that with pitchers at the time. So that was exactly the right place for him to go to do what he did. But 7 years later, in his mid 40s now?
He's 40. I'll give you his age right now. JV is, we like to call him, those of us close to him.
Yeah.
Never met the guy. 41.
41.
He's 41 years of age. Yes. JV.
And I trust in his pitch ability. I trust in his competitiveness.
He'll be 42 February 20th.
But I don't trust that he's going to give you the kind of reliable innings start to. You don't need the same number of innings that you would have got out of him 10 years ago.
I'd love to have Kate Upton sitting in the stand.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but I was kind of thinking that in the back of my mind. There's your set.
Can you imagine in Chicago sports if we have Simone Biles?
That's the 2-for-1. That's a 2-for-1 on Black Friday, man.
There you go. Simone Biles, Kate Upton. Who else is famous? Jimmy Butler, when he was here, was dating Meghan Markle.
What about,
She's moved it up in the world. Huh?
Dansby's
wife, Mallory.
Yeah.
We could have quite the celebrity stands of wives.
There goes my nickname. There goes my press box wag nickname.
That's it. That's it. Okay, so we'll move on from Justin Verlander. He would be a low dollar extra guy.
Let me give you one to counter the Justin Verlander. Jose Quintana's a free agent.
Yeah, hard pass.
Jose Quintana pitched 170 innings for the Mets last year.
Great.
He won playoff games.
Great, I'll pass.
He's a 1-year proposition. Maybe
he's a wonderfully good guy.
Terrific guy.
He's a 2018 Buick Regal. Get you to the mall, but nobody goes, man, you see that,
He won a playoff game this year.
I'll pass.
He pitched well in the playoffs.
I'll pass.
I'm telling you, if you're going to go in and try to get good deals, there's a value deal to be had right there. And maybe the second time around, he pays off in a way that even you can appreciate.
Now, I was listening to a really good show called Inside the Clubhouse with Ryan McGuffey and Bruce Levine. Inside the Clubhouse had Nico Horner on over the weekend. Past weekend.
Your guy that you want to get rid of.
I've never said that. I said
you said it over and over again.
I said that
traded.
I did not say that. I said of the guys that you could move, he makes the most sense.
He's like the one who doesn't have like 4 years of
and he's
control.
Heard all the trade whispers, and he told Ryan McGuffey that I don't want to be traded. I want to be here when the Cubs get back to where we're trying to get to. I don't want to go anywhere. I like it here.
Are you surprised by that?
No.
Of course he's going to say that.
So my question is, how do we upgrade the offense unless you're able to move Bellinger?
Yeah, and by the way, if you're able to move Bellinger, then you got to turn right around and invest whatever amount of savings you get. Because if you're able to move him, you're probably picking up a good chunk of that salary, unless you thread the tightest of needles on it. And then you got to turn around and invest that times 2, maybe 3, to go get the kind of bat that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And maybe that means your guy up in Toronto, try to trade for him, Vlad Jr., or going out on the free agent market and getting somebody. It's not going to be Soto, obviously.
No.
And
I don't even want them to meet with Soto because they're not going to go make a serious offer. So don't throw me a cookie and go, well, we met with him. No, either go after him hard or we won't waste my time.
Here's the thing about trading Bellinger. That's entirely a money move, right? That's to clear up some money and to clear up a position so that you can go out and maybe make a trade or maybe have some more money to spend on a free agent. Look, if this is all about money, the guy's a plus glove still. And he's not terrible. We went over this on a recent podcast. He's still a good player. He's not a $27.5 million player plus the $5 million if he opts out, which makes him a $30+ million. He's not a $30 million ball player, but he's a good player. He's a plus player. He's not a deficit to you in any way. He can help you win. He's a left-handed bat. And as I already said, he's a plus glove. Run prevention is a big part of your game as the Cubs. I understand that you'd like to upgrade, but again, it's kind of like trading Nico. You do something like that, and now you got to go backfill and make sure that you're getting better there. And I'm not saying you can't, but now if money's an issue with these guys, and they keep showing us over and over again it is, it's going to be really hard to go backfill. Just suck up the short-term money for now and go double down on that pitching. I keep saying that because that's the one area that you can truly get better with this club. And you're not terrible. You're good in the field, and you're not terrible with your lineup, and you've got a little bit of balance. So
so answer me this. Let's assume they get a reasonably good starter, whether that is Roki Sasaki, whether that is Max Fried. They're not going after Corbin Burns because he's going to be way too expensive. But let's assume they signed a pretty good starter. What's the next thing you would add on Black Friday? Is there a bargain type deal out there? You go,
I got two for you, Cap.
Okay.
One of them is just a sheer bargain deal that you're looking ahead a little more on. And the one of them, something that you've been talking about. Well, go get that closer, damn it. All right. There's not Josh Hader out there or anybody else you can get like that. But there's a guy whose market might be down just a little bit who could help this.
If you take my name, I'm going to go reach over and smack you.
I got this name right here.
I don't have my
Clay Holmes.
Oh, that's not the one I was thinking.
Clay Holmes was a Yankees closer, but former Pirate, Yankees closer after a trade for 3+ years, was an all-star twice in the Bronx as the closer, including this year when after the all-star break, he struggled and lost his closer job. He rebounded in the postseason to pitch some pretty big innings for that Yankees team. This guy could come in and handle the fishbowl that is Wrigley Field, the big market that is Chicago, and the track record recently that is a horseshit bullpen on the north side. And because he struggled with the recency bias influencing these marketplaces, you might be able to get him for a little less than you would have had he come out, say, last year, or had you tried to trade for him at the closer to the trade deadline when he was an all-star and had a minuscule ERA. So this guy's only 32 years old, and he's got a 2.85 ERA over those last 3 seasons.
I've got a guy for you. Kyle Finnegan.
I like that.
Kyle Finnegan had 38 saves this year, an ERA of 3.68, appeared in 65 games for Washington. The last 4 years, 65, 67, 66, 68. The guy is durable. I would absolutely take a look at him.
I like that on its face. I love that idea. Here's the thing about that. He got non-tendered.
Correct.
By a team that's trying to upgrade going into next season. That always makes me hesitate. What do they know that you and I don't know about him?
Same thing the Cubs knew about Schwarber.
Well,
they non-tendered him too.
They non-tendered Schwarber because of money. Purely,
maybe Washington
purely
did.
Pandemic losses, biblical freaking losses, right? That's why. And Kyle Schwarber is one of the all-time worst non-tenders. You know, this guy's a reliever. He's been pitching for a number of years. And you wonder. Now, he got paid a pretty good paycheck last year for being a reliever.
He did.
And I'm sure he was going to make a pretty good change in arbitration, and I'm sure all that comes into play. But his numbers the last couple of years been very consistent, good, not off the charts. And I wonder if they just didn't see the value in that. Now, because he got non-tendered, you can get him for a lot less than he would have got in arbitration.
No question.
And so that's worth exploring. But boy, I'd be all over the medicals on that. Just I'm not saying there's any red flags or anything. I don't want I don't want to suggest anything at all about this guy because I don't know, but it makes you wonder what they know. Or, just do never mind the medicals, just the due diligence on the guy.
So I need to add, probably with Eli Morgan there, I still need to probably add 3 bullpen arms. You let Alzolay go. They may re-sign him and stick him in the minors to rehab, but he's out most of 25. 3 arms, is that fair?
Yeah, but remember, if you're
Clay Holmes is only 32, by the way.
Exactly. If you were to add a reliable starting pitcher that could give you even 160 innings, even 150 innings, that in theory, with halfway decent health, kicks somebody else to the bullpen. And so you bolster your bullpen by bolstering your rotation too. So there is that. So I'd like to add more. You'd like to see more depth. And it's such a volatile position. A lot of times, if you go get the one guy that you sort of target, whether that's a Clay Holmes or somebody else, and then you can add some depth behind it, behind who else you have in that mix, and then something sticks.
What about Ryan Stanek?
I like him.
Solid.
How old is he now?
I got to give you that age. He's a really good pitcher.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he's got really good experience.
Ryan Stanek, by the way, 33.
33.
And named for Ryan Sandberg, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, it's super cool if he can pitch well. I mean, that's
he's played for Tampa Bay, Miami, Houston, Seattle, and the Mets. He's 33. Will turn 34 July 26th this year. Had a pretty solid season. So I would absolutely be interested in talking to him. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I'd check it out for sure. And they're probably doing that as we speak on a lot of these guys. I'll give you 2 names to look at as potential value guys. One is a guy that would be a late season ad, and possibly be a big gun for you in 26. That's Shane Bieber.
That's an interesting one. He's 30.
He's 30.
He has history with Carter Hawkins.
He's got a Cy Young Award.
But when did he have the Tommy John surgery?
He had it in April. So, no, he had it April of was it April this year?
Let me look.
Yeah, it was April this year. Yeah, that's right. It was April.
So, I mean, what are you getting on him unless you're doing a multi-year deal?
So what you're doing is you're doing 2 years. The Athletic predicts that he'll get a 2-year, $30 million deal. And of course, it'll be backloaded. It'll be 10 and 20 or 8 and 22 or something like that if you were to get that number. But think about that for a minute.
Yeah, he had re-injury to his ulnar collateral ligament.
Yeah.
And had his surgery April 6, 2024.
Yeah. So that puts him,
or thereabouts.
That puts him in play. You kind of think in terms of Walker Buehler this year. Walker Buehler came back late in the season. He kind of struggled as he got his feet back under him after not pitching for a year and a half or whatever it was. But then by the postseason, he was a force. He pitched some big innings, got some huge outs for him. They win the championship. Now, he made 16 starts. Walker Buehler, I'm talking about, made 16 starts in the regular season. I would expect that if Bieber comes back this year or 2025, it might be 16 starts worth. It might be less than that. Maybe you get 10 starts. Maybe you even get 5 starts. You take your time with him. But all of a sudden, if you're in this thing late and Shane Bieber joins the mix,
might be so Brandon Woodruff, when he suffered an injury, and it was more severe because it was shoulders way harder to come back from than elbow.
It's far more uncertain.
He got a 2-year, $17.5 million deal. So
the Cubs have done this with Drew Smyly.
They have. Could you get Bieber to take less money, or at least backload it into 26?
Well, you would absolutely backload it, no matter what. It would be double the salary on the back end, at least, right? That's how these would be structured, because he'd be doing rehab most of this year. You're not counting on this year per se. Now, April is a year out, so now the clock does start because he's rehabbing, and you see where he can progress, and maybe sometime after the All-Star break, you can start plotting him into your plans. But he's not a full season pitcher this year for you. You're paying him for 26 and maybe the end of 25. It's an interesting, and this isn't where he's going to cash in on a long-term deal, but he is going to cash in on 26 with whoever takes the chance on him. But that could be a value play. That could be a Black Friday value play for these guys as they look at the next couple of years.
All right, before I let you go, your favorite thing to eat at Thanksgiving?
Oh, wait, I need to give you one more.
Oh, you got one more name?
Yeah, because I told you there were two. And it's Michael Lorenzen.
I love Michael Lorenzen. That guy's a beast.
He's a beast, and he was that
former
reliever.
Red.
Right, and we used to see him when we'd go into Cincinnati or they'd come to Chicago. He'd come off the bench. He'd play some outfield once in a while.
He could hit a little bit.
He could hit a home run once in a while. But then, he was a reliever who always wanted to be a starter. Last 2 years, he's been a starter, including an all-star for Detroit in 2023. He's been pretty good. His last 2 years have been career highs in innings pitched, and he's not going to cost a ton. He is 33 years old. But
guy is a beast.
But this guy could slide him your fourth starter, whatever. He could be your fifth starter. But what a solid piece there. And if he sort of gets kicked out of the rotation at the back end of the rotation a little bit here and there, or if Bieber comes back, now you got to force in the bullpen. That could be a value play for you.
I would absolutely be all in on that. Before I let you go, your favorite thing to eat at Thanksgiving?
I'm a pretty simple guy, Cap. I like turkey all year round.
See, man. I'm not a turkey. I think it's so overrated.
Well, see, here's the thing. So my wife's got family in town from out of state, and so we're going to do a thing in the city with a whole bunch of family, and so we're not hosting. And sometimes when we host, it's just like maybe the three of us, and we get a big turkey because I'll eat the whole damn thing over the course of the next week. So knowing we're going to be somewhere else, I'm getting my own damn turkey just to have for the week. So
at the house.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. So I got a week or two, even two, man, of like.
So my favorite thing, I only eat it like once a year: mashed potatoes, corn, put the gravy over the top, and beef tenderloin.
Have you heard of a place called Kentucky Fried Chicken?
I haven't been to a KFC in 20 years.
Maybe that's why you don't know that they actually sell that.
Now, if you would like to sponsor the recap, I'll eat KFC right here on the podcast.
What do they call that thing?
Shepherd's pie?
You don't know. No, what is KFC called? I can't remember. But God, first time I saw it on commercial. Well, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call it a name, but we're trying to get KFC. If you're listening, we love you.
Yeah, and Gordon will even drink Celsius right here on the show like he did last week.
That's right. Celsius.
Gordon,
Have you heard from Celsius yet?
Haven't yet, but we're working on it.
All right.
We are thankful for you. We love partnering up with you. You're the best.
Hey, nobody's better than you, Cap.
You're the man.
Except on that Quintana shit.
Just because I tell the truth. I say things other people don't have the
No, you say
temerity
things other
to say
people don't. That's for damn sure.
This is true. For Gordon, for our crew right here at the recap, hope you like our brand new montage. That's a new addition here this year in our new studios. I'm Cap. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're thankful for you. We appreciate you following us. Follow all our content. Just click the little bell right there when you sign up on our YouTube page, which is free, and you'll get a notification of all of our stuff when it drops. Appreciate you. Take that.